Yo, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors at Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. I really appreciate you joining me. And before we get into the next story of today, I've got a follow-up to the last video. I was reacting to a robbery in a barbershop in Forest Gate in London, where a small gang of men entered the shop and took what was alleged to be a Rolex Submariner. And I was highlighting the fact of how popular it has become to rob watches now. Rappers, singers, footballers are all wearing big watches, which leaves anyone as a sort of a target. And this other story that I come across since doing the video was a robbery in Birmingham. These guys come from London to commit robberies in Birmingham city centre. It says that 3 men punched a man in the head during a violent robbery in Birmingham city centre. The victim had just left the nightclub. A man approached him and asked him how he was. I talked to him at around 4 o'clock in the morning on the 21st of April. As the man tried to move away, he was grabbed and pushed against the shop shutter before the attacker shouted to his accomplices, waiting nearby, that the victim had an expensive watch. The gang surrounded him and repeatedly punched him as they tried to retrieve the watch by holding his arms down before fleeing with expensive jewellery. They then drove away in a black Mercedes people carrier, but patrolling police officers spotted the vehicle on Broad Street at the junction of Sheepcote Street. It then went on to say that West Midlands Police stopped the car on Ladywood Middleway less than an hour after the victim reported the shocking incident. The men were detained. One officer noticed that one of the defendants was putting their arm down the side of the car seat, trying to hide something. The watch was called an Udimar's Royal Oak. Forgive my pronunciation. It was quickly recovered and returned to the victim. It goes to say specifically that the victim had inherited it from a relative. I suppose that highlights sentimental value, or it was an excuse for why he owned such an expensive watch. 3 men went on to admit robbery at Birmingham Crown Court on the 22nd of July. And like I said, with this, it's quite interesting, mainly just due to the fact that every single one of these guys are from like London, Essex, Hackney, and North London is the other guy.
For LPU with Stinger, please. It's now Ladywood Midway, back toward 5 ways. Stand by. It has reacted, I think. William, stand by. Vehicle appears to be stopped. Brake lights on.
Don't move. All of you. Show us your hands now. Alright, key out. Pass me the key. William, can you have a description of that property that's outstanding, please?
Just an ordinary grey watch with a rose gold bezel and a blue face strap.
Confirmed, we've got that. 0445, you're under arrest for robbery, okay?
So it goes to show that people will go all across the country to rob watches. That was an update from the previous video, but this is a new story. It comes from the Small Heath area of Birmingham, bordering Bordesley Green. It's about a dating app called Grindr and men that are using it to lure other men to a meeting on the basis of potential sexual relations, and then they go on to rob them. I think this story really highlights the generation we're living in with dating now, where you literally will be matched to somebody on a dating site and go and meet them. Like, you have no idea who they are, what their sexual history is, what their relationship history is. And some people do it for the thrill, like literally. So at the end of the day, a lot of people are putting themselves in a lot of danger. So I'll explain a bit more after I've read the story. 3 teenagers have been jailed for a series of robberies where they tricked men into believing they were meeting up with a match on Grindr, the gay dating app. Mohammed Khan, Qaasim, Ahmad and Mohammed Umar, all 18, created fake profiles on a dating website. And this is something else as well, the ability to create fake accounts. Like, Facebook has kind of combated that a lot by making sure that people hold their ID up, and especially if you're meeting people up, really they should be registering the users of this site properly. Like, you should have to show ID. The gang talked to the men on the app, convinced them to meet up over a period of 3 months. They did at least 4 fake dates on unsuspecting victims. The trio met the men in Bordesley Green, then forced them into Wasteland, where they assaulted and restrained the robbers, robbing them and humiliating them by shouting gay slurs. The first attack happened in January this year, and 3 further reports were made to West Midlands Police on the 18th, 24th and 29th of March. They sparked a huge scale investigation. Urgent warnings were issued via social media, which sparked outrage in Birmingham and across the UK. Investigators recognised striking similarities between the cases, immediately leading them to believe the same group of people were responsible for all the attacks. One of the main reasons they got convicted was DNA. Mohammed Umar had spat on one of his victims during the terrifying ordeal. The clothing of the victim was taken and it matched the DNA of Umar with a certainty of 1,000,000,000 to 1. The discovery made Umar the prime suspect. He was arrested by officers in Bordesley Green, along with 2 other teens who were later released without charge. Khan and Ahmad were also suspects soon after and were arrested by police at their home on March the 30th this year. Evidence was discovered on all 3 suspects' phones, and warrants conducted at the homes uncovered further items linking them to the crime. Blood belonging to one of their victims was found on the sleeve of a coat belonging to Qaasim Ahmad. The coat was very expensive. It was a Canada Goose coat, so that may have contributed to why he didn't want to throw it away. But when you commit a crime, that is what they have to do. Detectives searched CCTV from stores and cash machines, where the defendants fraudulently used bank cards taken from their victims, plus incriminating Snapchat videos and phone records. Officers presented the evidence to the Crown Prosecution Service, and the gang was ultimately charged with conspiracy to rob, conspiracy for false imprisonment, and also conspiracy to burgle. Both Khan and Umar pleaded guilty to both conspiracy to burgle and robbery, including false imprisonment, and Ahmed was found guilty of 3 crimes following a 13-day trial at Birmingham Crown Court. On December the 11th, the teens were sentenced to a combined total of 37 years in jail. Qaasim from Smallheath was jailed for 13 years. Mohammed Khan from Hay Mills was also jailed for 13 years. And Mohammed Umar from Bordesley Green was jailed for 11 years and 3 months. All 3 of them will be subject to an extended licence due to the severity of their crimes. And it is also treated as a homophobic hate crime and reflected the aggravated nature in the sentences. So this just goes to show that these young lads thought that they found an opportunity that was easy. It would get people to meet them, they trusted them, and they could get away with it. But clearly, as it shows, the majority of them have got 13 years in prison to do. They're going to be on licence for a long period of time, and it's going to cause all sorts of problems later on in life when you have homophobic attack charges on your record. And for what? For a little bit of money for that time period or whatever. So many people asked me to react to this video, and I am being told that they do belong to a gang in the area called Area 10. I can't confirm that, so I'm not really going to speak on it any more than that. But at the same time, I really do hope that youngers don't think this is a viable method for getting money, because at the end of the day, these sort of crimes are heavily investigated by police. All it will end up doing is getting you a long time in prison. So I really want to hear what people have to say on this, and I hope these 3 men sort their lives out when they come out of prison and can focus on doing something productive instead. So thank you for joining me. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. The Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Peace.